Aloha, welcome to the season finale, episode 15 with the Rowland Ohana.
Season finale! Woohoo!
Let's go. Hey Keith, are you guys doing season 2? You guys will be an episode in season 2, yeah?
Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely.
You guys are signed up.
Signed up. Season finale, dude.
Season
Yes.
finale, let's go.
Hi, Coach. Okay, Coach. There's 2. There we go. We are good.
Coach was one of the quicker ones.
Yes.
Very tech savvy.
Wow.
Good job, Coach.
Oh, I did pause.
Hey!
Oh, there we go. We're in.
Wow, there we go. Hey, Coach, guess what?
What?
You jumped on and added, like, you were one of the
Super
quicker
fast.
ones.
I know.
Whoops, sorry, we're gonna have dogs barking. Megan's
Oh,
job
we
is to help
have
us.
dogs, too. We're good. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining in really quick. Hi, Terry. I don't know where you went. You're somewhere over to
I'm back. Hi.
She's
stage
back.
left. There we go. Hi,
Dogs.
Terry.
Hi.
Nice. All right. Coach and Terry, welcome. Thank you so
I
much.
like the
for joining
CVU
us.
alumni.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yes.
for our season finale, episode 15. Coach and Terry, for people who don't know that are going to see this video, why don't you guys introduce yourselves?
My lovely wife, Terry.
Hi.
Terry Rowland, Rick Rowland. We've been married 35 years.
Yes, we met at Pepperdine.
We did. We met in a pool of all places.
Yeah.
Could you imagine?
Wow.
So
That was gonna be my
definitely
first
kind
question.
of started with aquatics. You know, she was doing laps in the pool on a kickboard, and I was swimming laps, and she wasn't staying in her lane, and one thing led to another.
Oh my gosh, that's the best story.
Yeah,
So
we
she-
met at one end and started talking. Yeah.
So
Yeah, well-
Terry wasn't doing what she was supposed to be doing, like Leah. Same thing.
That's what he says anyways. I think he was coming into my lane.
Yeah.
See,
That's
that's
what
what.
I said. Like, you were doing the workout wrong. I was doing it right.
Oh
I
my
was going
goodness.
straight.
Whenever we're at the Malibu invite at Pepperdine competing, I said, I met my wife over there in that lane right there.
Oh,
Oh, that's so
that's
special.
cool.
We were even doing long course, so, you know, long course training. So,
It was long
Absolutely.
course?
Oh,
Yeah.
cool.
It's a 50-yard pool.
50 meters.
50 meters, yeah.
It was set up for long course. They have it set up a lot on the weekends for long course swimming.
Yeah.
Oh, got it.
Nice.
Yeah,
For
totally.
sure. Well, Coach, you have a swim background, but Terry, I didn't know. Do you have a swim background? I mean, you were.
I
kicking-
don't. I played basketball
Okay.
and I was land sports. I played basketball and volleyball, a little bit
Nice.
of softball. Yeah.
Oh wow! How did you end up kicking
Yeah, what-
long course on a kickboard then?
It was at Pepperdine. We had that beautiful pool, so I
Uh-huh.
started swimming laps, learning, just swimming laps.
Yeah, I was coaching and she was an RA.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh, where you got? What year? Was it freshman?
I was a junior. I was a junior when we met. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And we
Very
met
cool.
exactly the very beginning of my junior year, before we actually even started classes.
Oh wow!
So, yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
And
very
then we were
nice.
married at the end of my junior year.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Very fast.
That's
We
awesome.
had only known each other a couple months when you proposed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, 9
Oh my
months
goodness.
total from start.
Wait, I
to
want to
marriage.
hear this. So
I
wait. Oh, okay. So for the people that are in and the people that are gonna watch this, Coach is our coach. He's the reason why we met. He recruited us to swim at CBU, and we've been together because of Coach. So he knows our story, but we had no idea. So you guys were married after a couple of months. Can you like briefly walk us through the whole engagement thing and
Go
how did
ahead.
that go about? Coach, did you think when you saw Terry that was the woman you were going to marry? Like when I saw Leah on the pole down?
We hit it off pretty quick. I mean, we had a lot of things in common right away. Terry's very athletic.
Mhm.
You know, we would go out, you know, she could shoot hoops with me. We could play tennis,
We
you
played
know,
ping pong.
ping pong, very
Yeah.
athletic. And she actually understood sports. Like, she was a fan and could really tell you something about sports. And of course, she followed her team, the Giants. We were both pretty much Laker fans from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there was anybody to follow in Northern California in those days for basketball. It was the Lakers or nothing.
Yeah, I've gone to a couple Lakers games at Pepperdine, so I kind of became a fan quickly. Because it was, yeah, the Magic Johnson years. So, yeah.
Yeah, we just hit it off really quick, and yeah, before you knew it, you were engaged.
You proposed after a couple of months. Where did you propose?
Yeah, I was about to say.
Well, it was kind of a funny story too, because we had only been dating a couple months, and do you guys know what the Merv Griffin show was or is?
Yes, I know.
The talk show
Yes.
from the 60s, 70s, 80s. I actually appeared on the Merv Griffin show.
Oh,
Wait,
no
what?
way.
Yeah, that's my 15 minutes to claim to fame.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
And my mom got to fly down for it. She sat in the green room, and Rick
I hung out in the green room too.
hung out in the green room. We all went out to dinner afterwards, and my mom told me afterwards, I think there's something really there. And I think less than a couple weeks later, you proposed.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Just hanging out. But it was, my mom kind of knew before we did.
So
She called
is it cliche, or is there absolute truth in when you know you know?
I think it's when you know, you know.
You know, yeah. Because I did not go into Pepperdine thinking I was going to be married my junior year. I was thinking, it'd be nice to be married when I'm 25, 26.
Right.
I hadn't really dated anybody long term prior to then, so I think it's when you know, and then there's just some patience and luck involved too in those first couple of years where you're getting to know each other, and our faith helped.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh,
I think that's one of the things for us where
Prayer.
we have so many young friends who are single, and they're persistently pursuing relationships. So we tell them to be patient, but there's obviously some luck involved as well. So it's refreshing to hear that when you know, because we see a lot of people reaching for relationships, and we have to advise them, okay, maybe you're trying to fit like a square in a circle peg. It's not really working, but oh man, that's cool.
It was cool too, and we were so young, we didn't have a lot of history or baggage or things to work through from past relationships or anything like that too. And we both really liked our parents-in-law. I love Rick Sr., obviously, and Lildra. And Rick got along really well with my parents as well. And they were both sets of parents that were very supportive, and they didn't come in to create chaos, or they just wanted to help, but not offer too much advice, really, just there to support. So that was a big help too. Yeah, they didn't jump in with all their opinions and try to manipulate. They just kind of let us work through it, but were there when we needed them, which was.
We were married 5 years before we had kids, so we had a lot of time to kind of grow.
Yeah.
Hey, Sam, 5 years before we had kids. We're following the Rowland.
I know.
5-year
At
plan.
college, at the pool.
Until we have our first daughter, there you go.
Yeah.
I don't know if you said, but did you propose on campus?
Yes, actually, in my working office, we were watching a movie.
Oh, so you can still kind of go back and be like, "That's where I asked you to be my wife."
We were watching Against All Odds.
Really old movie. Probably never even heard of it.
Against all odds.
Against All Odds with Jeff Bridges. Yeah.
Jeff Bridges movie.
Oh, yeah.
Old Jeff Bridges movie.
Yeah, we definitely.
Before you guys were alive.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, we've seen that. Yeah, we watched that stuff. We're good.
This was we were engaged in 85 and married in 86. No, 84, met in 84, engaged in married in 85.
Married in 85. Yeah,
Wow.
it's been 35 years.
Yeah.
Oh, man. And
Wow, that's amazing.
Terry, I want to come back to something you said where, Coach, you were saying that you could talk to her and you enjoyed sports together and you were easy to get along with. But Terry, you said something that really resonated with me, where you both had shared faith and your faith was strong. Can you walk us through that?
I think it was just, I mean, when we first started dating, he actually went to Japan
Okay.
to just earn some extra money to get us started on the right foot. So even though we had only known each other a short time, and then part of our engagement, you were away, he would write letters with words of encouragement and send scriptures.
Oh, wow.
And really long 2-3 page letters about what he's doing. He still is that way. Super. He's great with things like that. Well, I'm like, oh, that's great. Two lines, but he really delves a little bit deeper. And that really encouraged me to go a little bit deeper in the word as well. Cause I would look up and actually at the same time, I was taking a couple Bible classes at Pepperdine as well. And a lot of the verses he would send would tie into what I was learning in my class. And that encouraged me too, because I was raised Catholic, and you don't delve into the actual word that often.
Sure.
It's just the Gospels, and you don't really study on a daily basis. I wasn't raised to study on a daily basis. I can't speak for all Catholics, but that's the way I was raised. So that was just something new to me, and my faith grew exponentially from there. And I think just his encouragement and the prayers, just really, I had a tougher time the first year of marriage, because I went from like a 20-year-old living in a dorm to being married and in traveling in Europe, and then coming back finishing my senior year. So it was a big adjustment for me. So that faith, and then just the constant encouragement, and then studying together just really helped me, because it wasn't something natural, but we grew into it, for me at least.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Coach, as a leader of your family, and in the beginning with Terry and how she walked through faith in that first year of marriage, how did you lay that foundation to be there for her and support her and encouraging at the same time?
I think just being around other like-minded people, other believers. We had a lot of friends that were believers, but we got involved in the university church. And then at the same time, I was also working with the university church ministry, like youth ministry. So Terry would come alongside me, and we would do things with the high school age kids. I know during our first year or two of marriage,
Hold on, we're buffering. We're good. We're okay. I think they got a call. You got a
we
call
lost you for a second.
Yeah.
No,
there was just a text popped up.
There was a text popped up, and then it moved the page over or something. I don't know.
Oh no.
Okay.
Megan's on standby for any technical difficulties.
Yeah.
So.
Nice.
Yeah, Max.
Not too techy. So.
Yeah. She's not as patient with us either.
Well, we had encouragement from friends. Actually, two guys that I worked in youth ministry with. One was working on campus and admissions, and he worked with the youth as well, Doug Plank. And then Keith McFarland was working in another capacity, and he worked with the youth as well. And he actually married us.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
he was a really close friend. So working in youth ministry together. And all of us were in each other's weddings. So it's kind of cool. And so Terry got really close with a lot of my friends who were believers. But, I think people in the university church there on campus, as well as my family, invested in us. Yeah. So I think just staying dialed in, wherever you go, it's really important just to stay dialed in. When we moved to New York in the early part of a relationship, we found a really great church in Manhattan in New York that we got involved in. There was a lot of young couples that we hung out with and did, fellowship with on Sundays. Then we moved back here. We found a couple of different churches that we got involved in. And we just got dialed in, and that was really important, that you're dialed in and you're involved. So I think it's who you put around yourself too, to help you kind of stay true to your faith and stay strong in your faith.
Absolutely. And churches call those life groups, but to those who aren't familiar, what is a life group, and what do they usually do? Is that like a Bible study?
So actually, Terry and I have taken over one in the last couple of years and doing it together. And it's been really good for us. We do it on Wednesday nights, and it's with our church. Our church is quite large here in Corona. It's Crossroads. And so by investing in a group of 8 to 10 people, you do life together on Wednesday nights and throughout the week. Sometimes we'll talk to each other via text and say, hey, I'm struggling with this, or pray for me about that. And of course, we always, go through what message has been brought forth on Sunday, and we discuss that at Life Group. But we always start with, hey, how did your week go? And there's usually an icebreaker question. We dig into scripture that's been related to the Sunday talk at church. We're still Zooming right now because we're such a large church. We're Zooming Life Group as well, just for safety purposes with COVID.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
But we just try to invest in each other's lives, and everybody stays connected, texts, prays for one another, and just invest in each other's lives. And it's a pretty eclectic group of people. Everybody's very different in the group, so it's definitely unique in that way.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Oh my goodness. And Coach, you obviously coach at CVU. It's a Christian university, so there's a handful of stories you have of just everything of deliverance and Christians there. But Terry, I'm more interested in how you see God working on your daily, whether it's through work or whether there's things that you have visibility to. Can you provide an example where you saw God just show up one day, whether you're at work or with your girlfriends or just kind of cruising around?
I'm not really self-reflective that way. I just kind of see it. I mean, no one scene or incident pops into my mind because if I do capture it, I don't remember it. It's just the way I work.
Yeah, understandable.
But it's just my daily walk. I do get encouragement from a couple people at work, but it's not a lot of my work's not as obvious as CBU. It's advertising. You have a pretty eclectic group of people, creative, outgoing people. I have to work at a really great pace though, where everybody's pretty cool and straightforward and honest, but they don't really talk about their faith that often. But I do have a few confidants that they all know that I'm Christian, but it's not something that we dig deep into.
Sure.
But on my way to work or before each day, I just pray that, and I'm actually doing a Bible plan too, on learning different ways where I can incorporate. I'm not super outgoing, so just speaking off the tip of my tongue and engaging people, even though it's kind of my profession, it takes a lot. I'm kind of like Megan that way. We're a little bit more introverted than Rick, but when we do have the opportunities and the words come to us and we're comfortable, then it's a little bit easier for me. But I am and just looking at a plan and each day where I am making a more conscious effort to pray about being a light in the workplace and making decisions by asking God first, because I get so busy just jumping into things and I'm like, 30 minutes later I'm wondering, was that the right decision? Next time I should probably just step back and pray about it a little bit and start incorporating reaching out to him more often during my daily routines. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. That's perfect. And I love how you brought it back to how you and Megs are similar people. Absolutely. Megs she is self-professed introverted, but every time Megs speaks up, she only speaks gems. So every time we hear from Megs or she does something in public, we have had the privilege of seeing our friendship, or her friendship with Leah rather, grow in surfing, and her faith in Jesus just grow. And it's been great. We see her doing things that maybe in a couple of years prior she would have entertained it, but not doing it. Now she's taking girls surfing with church and leading groups. It's pretty cool. So it's kind of nice to see how she gets that from you and how you're taking that in the workplace. It's really refreshing.
Thanks. Yeah, she's pretty much a combination of us.
Yeah, I would hope so with your kid.
Oh, you guys are both angels. And you too, Coach.
Yes. Well, Coach,
she's great. We're really proud of her.
Coach, the obvious question here, you're a coach at a Christian university. You were raised this way. Your father coached. What is the most rewarding thing you get when you coach, because I imagine as a college coach, you get some kid who's going to qualify and he's a world beater and he comes in thinking that he's the greatest thing since sliced bread, but you see that year after year after year. And you're such a good influence to not only humble these men and women that come by, but to remind them of their relationship with Jesus. I've seen you grow the program from before I came to the program to now, where we've had our siblings graduate from the program. You guys have moved up. Tell me about the kids. Tell me about the kids you've been able to recruit, not in terms of their athletic prowess, but their faith. Tell me how you've seen them grow and how rewarding that's been for you.
Well, we get a diversity of kids from all backgrounds. We've had kids that come from Christian homes, some that don't come from Christian homes that are very comfortable, and they come to CBU because, hey, we have a great business program, or they really like our swimming. And so I think it's just an opportunity to serve God and have an influence in people's lives. And I think there's kids on the team that do a great job with that. I think they're RAs, I think professors, I think counselors. There's so many different people that are part of the process. I often reflect back to orientation week, which will be very different this year in a COVID year. But in orientation week, they'll have a lot of opportunity to share the gospel with new incoming students, and especially those that maybe want to renew their faith, or those who want to, maybe accept Christ for the first time. And I often think of a story of Matt Moore, who came in, kind of wild guy, wanted to accept Christ. His first, orientation section, pulled Coach York over. You probably remember Coach York, our athletic chaplain, and said, "Hey, if I accept Christ, do I have to be a pastor? Do I have to work in the ministry?" And he's like, "No, you can serve Christ in any capacity." And he goes, "Okay, I'll do it." And, and we saw him grow during that 2-year period. And after he left the CBU, he got involved in a church in the Modesto area, and he started working with youth ministry, just doing sports, because he's a really good athlete. He was an All-American water polo player for us, played baseball. He started dating the pastor's daughter. They got married, and then he showed up to an alumni event and shared, if Christ can get to me, he can get to anyone. Because the first week I was here at school, I accepted Christ on the promise that I wouldn't have to become a pastor. And guess what? I'm a pastor now. And so he's in full-time ministry now in Temecula. And it's just such a great story. And I think those are the stories that are exciting about how people have grown in their faith and left stronger by, serving and going on international service projects. I've really seen kids grow through that experience, or just growing with their teammates. And then those who are finding Christ for the first time in their lives, being influenced by many on campus, not just the coaching staff, but teammates, professors, RAs. And that, I think, is a great story. And that's why I really like working at CBU, which is truly a great commission university.
Amen. Absolutely. It's absolutely the truth. Where do you, I guess, when it gets difficult, how do you persevere and remain obedient to continually pour into people, both of you? Because both of your jobs are demanding, and at the same time, we're called to be this light. But obviously, we don't live in a perfect world. We're human after all, and things can influence us and upset us. How do you, I guess, work through that? And how are you able to still be there for your life group, for your kids, for your coworkers? What do you?
You just find a balance. I think I went through a period where I was coaching 4 teams at once, and it made it more difficult for me to be involved in my church. But I felt a big part of my ministry when I first came to CBU was the students. And then recently, since I've just been coaching swimming, I've gotten more involved in my home church and life groups and things like that. So I think the transition and change in my life to just coaching swimming and diving and not having to coach club or water polo anymore has made it easier for Terry and I to get involved and serve together. Mm-hmm. So, finding a balance, I know there were times when I was very busy at CBU, and I remember Coach York, leading our weekly devotions, and, he's not there anymore. We don't have an athletic chaplain, but he also used to lead a devotion for coaches each week to help find that balance, which was great. I attended that. I have a coach's Bible on my desk. It's by FCA, and there's days when I dig into that, and there's days when I listen to Max Lucado, and there's other days when I dig into other things for encouragement. Find encouragement any way you can get it, and you've got to set aside some time each day. And there's days where maybe I miss out on that and things don't go quite as well, and I've got to kind of recenter myself again and just stop and pause.
There's something to be said about routine too. When the kids were younger, we were a lot busier. I mean, tournaments were taking us away, and we weren't necessarily going to a church service on Sundays as often as we wanted to, because we were who knows where at a pool. But because we had had established a routine of going to church on Sundays and studying and getting into that routine, it saved us. That we were, even though we missed because we were kind of involved with our children at the time, it was that routine that got us back into it. So it didn't disappear forever, kind of thing. We had already established what we wanted to do, and church was important to us. So when we weren't able to go to church on a regular basis, it wasn't that big of a deal because we knew that we would go when we could. And now we're back to the routine. The kids are grown, and then it was great because you got to catch up online once churches kind of figured all that out. So that was nice too. So if you did miss a service here and there, this wasn't when they were younger, but now it's great.
Yeah.
It was a little
Yeah, it was nice.
Their high school and college years, we were able to catch up on a lot of services. But I think just because we knew how important it was and we established that in our life, that it doesn't drift away from us. It doesn't get away from us.
Made it easy when our church added Saturday nights or Sunday nights in and around everything else that was going on. Because I certainly had weekends where I was even coaching at CBU with water polo. We had to go to tournaments to compete on Sundays, but we never competed on Sundays without a devotion first in the morning. So when we're on the road, we would always have a devotion. And Lee and Justin, I'm sure you can remember quite well that when we went to NAIA Nationals, which was probably one of the only Sundays that we were gone from CBU, we always had a worship service on Sunday, and we even did a letter devotion on Wednesday nights before the championship started. And I think that was important to establish that within the NAI. I don't know if that's still happening, but I do miss that, transitioning Division II and Division I, the brotherhood that we had with a lot of, so many Christian schools that were in NAI. That was great. But we were able to do that on Wednesday nights. And then, Sunday, before we went home, we'd have a little worship service and then fly home.
Absolutely.
I remember Leah even performing and singing with Kudo.
I know.
Do you remember that? At our Wednesday
Kudo.
Wednesday service, you got up there and did some
Oh, I remember that.
I think Rachel was there too.
Yes, you and Rachel both would
harmonize.
I
We
remember
harmonized.
that. Oh,
wow. We were so young.
yeah, that was a little while ago for sure.
Know.
Oh, man, good times.
Oh, we love that. I loved hearing how the foundation you set in your marriage later translated to the swim team, which is huge. It kind of made me think about how it's very important to be on the same page. There's this one reiterating theme that keeps coming back for all these couples that approach us with relationship questions, and it'd be cool to see.
So Coach and Terry, we've been doing this for I think a couple weeks now, and I guess the recurring question we get is, or the recurring issue we have is relationships and kind of severed relationships, or things are going abrasive. How important is it to maintain balance and be on the same page with your spouse or your significant other?
I think it's huge.
Yeah, it's huge. I mean, there's certain things that we certainly like to do together. I know during COVID, it was interesting because we were all stuck here. Megan was stuck with us here. We did some workouts together. And then when tennis courts opened up again, we started playing tennis again. And just, having something that you like and enjoy doing together. And then obviously, our Sunday routine of going to church. But then it started, we transitioned into Zooming church. And we still do that, and we're still doing it. We have some small groups that meet in the parking lot, like prayer groups on Sunday. But I'm looking forward to when we get to go back into the building again. But routine, I think certain things that we look to do. The new thing is we like to go to Laguna Beach and just walk around grab some lunch.
Oh,
That's one thing that that's one thing that we like to do together for sure is, you know, we like to go out and eat one nice meal a week, you know.
We don't do that as often though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It makes sense too. We saved a lot of money that way. But I think, yeah, it's good to, you know, agree on the big issues about, you know, with raising your children and the retirement years, what, you know, just, you know what the big things are. But it's okay to disagree about things in your marriage. It just happens. Kind of have to accept each other for who we are, and I'm a big believer in not sweating the small stuff.
Oh, amen.
Because you know, accidents happen, stuff happens. It's hardly ever intentional.
Right.
And you just have to kind of get over, you know, the small stuff and move on and focus on the bigger things. It's when you get caught up in the little things that things kind of snowball and that make them bigger than they need to be. So if we agree to disagree, we're fine with that.
She likes the Giants. I like the Dodgers. It's okay
I was
to.
about to say, that's one thing you guys would never agree on.
Yeah, it's okay.
That's okay.
So in the sense of leadership and the life group that you lead, I'm sure there has been instances in that group where things have been heavy and people go through real life heavy issues. How do the both of you deal with that as leaders in giving them that advice? Sometimes the advice could be something that the both of you have been through, but what happens when it's something you both haven't been through and they're going through a season where it's really painful? And aside from offering prayer, what do you do?
You know, we just had I can kind of maybe share, we just had a new member join our group like 3 weeks ago. And I'm not going to give any names, but sweetheart of a gal. She's just been through so much. She's had 3 kids. She's been homeless. She's had an eating disorder. She's been clean and sober for about, I think she's going on 6 to 9 months now. And she reached out to me via email and said, hey, can I join your life group? And I said, yeah, come on. Our group had we had some people that kind of moved away from our group, and our groups kind of always stayed between like 6 and 8, got to be about 10. And so she joined in, and we've just been encouraging her. And I just reached out to her and said, hey, there's some other groups that can help you through things at church. And we have some great services at Crossroads where they work with people that, you know, have gone through, you know, addiction and, you know, different things. So we've just encouraged her to get involved in a Monday night group that she's in. And then she joins us on Wednesday night. We have another gal that's been with us now 3-4 years, and she's a single mom with a son. And, you know, every group's different. Every person in the group's different. We have a professor from RCC, and his wife does another Bible study life group, and he joins us. And so it's an eclectic group, and everybody different backgrounds and needs, I would say.
Yeah, but if we don't necessarily know how to reach out and handle whatever comes, there is other people in our group that step in and step up based on their experiences too. And oftentimes Rick and I, we've led pretty sheltered lives, really, you know, great families, lived in California, you know, not a lot of hardship in that regard. So it's nice to have the other people step in and step up. But I think what we bring into the group is just that consistency, where that calmness, the stability offers a lot. I think just being there and being there for them on a regular basis is kind of what we bring to the table, if not necessarily life experience in certain things that come up.
Yeah.
Right.
And stability goes a long way.
And I think people in our group, not just us, they're part of the process of encouraging the others that come in. Because there's one gal in our group that's been through what our newest girl's been through. And so
with her children.
with her children as well. And she's reached out to her. So it's almost like God put her in our group because we had people that had gone through some similar things previously, and they've overcome that. And they're, you know, they're fully dialed into our church now and move forward with their lives, and things are good for them. And so I think it was where God led them.
Yeah, we're fortunate in that regard. Really strong, faithful people with life experiences, and they're great communicators, and they reach out. It's a wonderful group, really.
Right. And Terry, you're reiterating what Coach said earlier about the importance of community. So we surf and we build community through surfing. We try and invite people to come to church, and that's usually the first step. When we try to explain how powerful community is, and they feel the community of surf, nobody ever wants to surf alone. You want to surf with people, so you make friends. But there's apprehension to go to church or maybe join a group for whatever reason, whatever stigma, maybe reading your Bible or something like that. How do you both offer encouragement to people either new to the whole Jesus thing or people who aren't Christian but are curious?
I think you just share what's on your heart. And I think, sometimes it's difficult for me to just come up to somebody and, share something specific with them. But I know, I'm really blessed in my job at CBU versus like being in my life group. What's different in that I have an opportunity to have meetings with kids and kind of ask them where they're at spiritually. And kids will tell me, I'm rock solid. I'm growing. I found this church I'm going to. And I've got some other kids who are like, well, I still got a lot of, questions. I'm not really sure where I'm at. I'm still asking questions, but boy, I've really grown in my faith while I'm here at CBU, just understanding the Bible and taking Christian studies courses. And I'm so much further in my understanding of Jesus Christ and the gospel and the Bible than I was when I came here. So I have an opportunity when I do exit meetings with each of my athletes to just kind of ask them where they're at and just encourage them to keep asking questions and keep growing. And I always pray with them. I don't ever force it upon them. And I think just living it and trying to be an example as best you can. We're all imperfect. We're going to make mistakes. They're going to see us make mistakes, and just let them know that, being a Christian isn't about being perfect.
Yeah, sure.
It's a relationship, and I try to share that with kids, that it's truly a relationship and it's not a list of do's and don'ts, which I think the world gets into looking at.
Amen. Absolutely. And since it is a relationship, you get what you have in your relationship by what you pour into it. So if you're new to the whole Jesus and Christian thing, people think that we always like to say like a buffet, where it's like, I'm going to pray, I'm going to ask for this, and you're going to go. But then you say relationship. So a relationship, like you love your wife, you're going to go get your wife flowers, not because you have to, but you love your wife. So it's almost the same in the sense where you're going to pray in this relationship, not because you want something, but in earnest in your heart, you want to pray. Is that what relationship is with Jesus?
Oh, most definitely. I mean, you want to talk to the person that's next to you to build that relationship. Sometimes we come home and we're exhausted and we can crash on the couch and watch our Dodger Giant game on our own, and sometimes we talk more on other days. And there's days like that in my relationship where I dig in early and I dig in late, and I lean on him. Fortunately, even social media has been good for me. I have a lot of friends that send encouraging words through social media, but I have some messages that I get through social media that I listen to that will encourage me for that day. But you've just got to find any way that you can to get dialed in throughout the day. And I'm just blessed in that I am around other believers. I know Coach Kudo next door. In my office, we'll pray together and we'll share things that are going on in our lives and stop and pray about it. And it's nice to have that as well, to have a coworker like that. And, at the end of our practices, we pray with the kids on the team. And we certainly, if something's going on in the team, with a family, we're going to pray about it as a team. And we've done things where we like text and reach out to kids and just say, hey, is there something we can pray for you about? So I think by also trying to stay in touch with people in the relationships that you have, whether that's at work or whether that's through your life group, your home, that definitely helps you grow in your faith too.
Sure.
And putting it to practice, into action.
You need to practice.
Practice. Well, we surf with Coach a lot.
I haven't been out
You
much
ever
lately.
been
I got to
to
get
her
back
shop?
out.
Oh.
Too many 1 foot days lately. I need some 2 to 4 foot waves.
Oh, it was 2 to 4 foot at San Diego today. Yeah, there's swell today.
Is there?
Yeah.
Yeah,
See, I
Nico
need to
went
get
San
out.
Diego. Yeah,
We
for
gotta
sure.
go.
Did Megan go tomorrow?
Megan's asking, should she go tomorrow? Like, is it going to be worth going
Yeah,
tomorrow?
well, we're gonna go tomorrow.
Okay.
Okay,
There you go,
we're going
Megan.
Megs, if you go tomorrow, you can surf with Leah. Yeah.
She
Okay.
says, okay.
Probably good.
Oh. Well, my question was, we surf with you. Did you ever take Terry out when you guys were dating or in your? I
You
she's
know,
not a big
when
surfer.
we went to Hawaii and we went to Duke's, we rented 2 longboards there, and she stood up at Duke's a bunch of times. She did really good there.
Well, the board's like 11 feet long.
Yeah, but
Hey,
she's
cows.
athletic.
Hold on.
Yeah, and so you just stand. If you can stand up, you can ride a wave at Duke's. So, but it was fun, and the water's warm.
Yeah, and the water's
Hey, the water's
concern
warm
for me
now.
is the wetsuit.
Terry's not real excited about the temperature of the Pacific
The
Coast.
cold, yeah.
I don't blame her.
Yeah.
In August, we've been out and body surfed a bit, you know.
Actually, when I was pregnant with Trevor, we went to the beach. We body surfed, and then
Nice.
that night
and then you
my
had it.
water broke, and we had Trevor in just a few hours.
Yeah, we went to the
remember
beach
you
the
telling
same
me
day.
Yeah, so like we were.
Hey,
in the
Similar
what
to
did
you.
I almost did that.
Yeah,
I know.
so we were in the water, and
And
yeah.
Terry was actually with me the
Yeah.
day that I went to labor.
I know.
You got lunch and everything.
I
That's
induced
right.
the labor just being with me.
Oh, man.
I think your story helped my body. Just overcame it with peace. And go into labor myself.
You were ready.
Yeah, you helped me get ready. Thank you, Terry.
You're welcome.
Oh,
Been a good
man.
mom ever since. Yeah, and I actually, Rick and a friend baptized me in the Pacific Ocean too.
Yeah, in Malibu.
wow.
Malibu.
Yeah.
Very
Malibu.
nice.
In Malibu.
That's so special.
And we hit the
Oh, I
Pepperdine
love it.
Jacuzzi afterwards.
Yeah, that's right. With Latigo Bay Villa Apartments. If you can believe this, this is a great story. So Pepperdine owned these apartments on the beach, on the water. You know, we're up on a cliff, but we're not on the beach. But a mile down the road, north of Pepperdine, we own Latigo Bay Villas. And I lived there for my last 2 years. And I always had my longboard and my shortboard. And there was a nice little point break in front. So, you know, Pepperdine still owned it. So when we went to baptize Terry, we went down to Latigo because we had access to it because it was a Pepperdine facility. And they had a little pool and spa there too. They sold those years ago and made millions to build more housing on campus.
Yeah.
But that was in my senior year when the surf was up. Well, I'll tell you, it was nice. We'd surf till the sun would go down some nights where you couldn't see anymore, and you were just waiting for that little white peak of the wave.
We do that in Waikiki whenever we go.
Take you home for sure.
Luckily, it was the slower, mushier wave, you know, and you could kind of take off late and get a nice ride to shore as your last wave of the day.
Yeah, what we would do, since I wasn't that big of a surfer, we played a lot of tennis. We worked out. When we were in New York, we would play ultimate frisbee with our friends after church and
Very
in the
nice.
park, which was nice.
We used to go to a schoolyard and play basketball a lot.
Yeah, we would play pickup
I
games
would
at a
I would
schoolyard.
throw my
In
elbows
Manhattan.
around. Terry has a good outside shot. She could hit the perimeter shot.
Terry would smoke us.
I would box out, rebound, and kick the ball to her, and she would hit the perimeter shot.
Oh, very
Oh.
cool.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, Terry's got a good, nice
I used to.
touch. And we used to call it
wow.
kicking yuppie butt. Back in
Yeah.
the 80s, there were yuppies. Those, you know, they'd work with the power ties Monday through Friday, and then they'd go
Right.
play in the schoolyard on the weekend.
Yeah,
These
we
guys-
weren't playing in the Bronx or anything.
So we'd play a couple guys. It's always fun to beat two guys. They get so upset losing to a male and a female.
Yeah.
With a shot. There you go.
Yeah, it was fun.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Oh,
I wasn't afraid to mix it up outside, and then I would, you know, set Terry up for the shot. She was a little more consistent than I was. I was good inside. She was way better outside.
Yeah.
There you go.
We had a good team. It was fun. So we did that when we were in our younger
We
days.
played on a volleyball team in
Oh, yeah,
town
we
too.
did.
6-on-6 In New York, we had an agency that we played volleyball with, and we ended up winning the club title in town. We had a couple of really good collegiate volleyball players on our team. Made us look good. Oh my word.
They were awesome.
They were good.
We developed some really cool friendships doing that too.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Nice.
Yeah, so New York,
So-
even though we were only there for a couple of years, it was a fun time.
Yeah, we had some really good relationships in New York.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, nice.
Our church and our friends that we hung out
It's
and
a
played
very
volleyball
social
with.
city.
Yeah, really social.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect city for a young couple with no children, you
Yeah,
know.
not
Are
like
you still in
like
contact
kids.
with some of your New York friends? Do you still see them from time to time?
You know,
Hear
we
from
stay in touch with them through social media.
Mhm.
You know, and some people you just lose contact with, you know. It's
Yeah.
different. But
Yeah, but there's a couple.
there's a couple.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we stay in touch with.
That's good.
So, what is a short-term goal and a long-term goal for you guys? Like, what is
You
one
do the
short-term
short-term,
goal?
Terry. I'll do long.
Yeah. What is one short-term goal from now until, I guess, next summer, and then what is a long-term goal 3 or 5 years from now? What's one thing that's on your guys' mind that you hope to accomplish?
Well, I mean, there's a few little short-term goals over the next, but they're all over the map. Of course, as always, I want to become more fit, get in a routine. We ordered a Peloton that should be coming in a couple months. We're excited about that. Yeah, we'll let you know how
Very
that
cool.
goes.
Yeah, let us know how that
So
goes.
that'll
Yeah,
get
that
me
goes.
through the Peloton months, I'm hoping, because
Okay.
our gym that we went to didn't survive Peloton,
Yeah.
the
Oh.
shutdown.
They were actually our life group leaders
Yeah.
that we took over like 2 years ago. They opened up a
The
gym.
and it was a great
Sidori
gym.
Wellness, and all three of us used to go quite a bit. You know,
Yeah.
Terry really enjoyed it and kind of misses that. So
Yeah, and I kind of got out of it because work just got super busy, and I kept thinking I was going to go back in, and we went in to check it out and say we were coming back, and they were there still, but they only had like a month left because they
yeah,
had
it's
to
a
close the
shame.
doors, which is really horrible because they spent a lot of time building it up, and it was a really cool gym. So we invested in a Peloton, and then we have some financial goals where we're trying to prep for retirement, and we've been poor planners.
We're
Or
meeting with
paying off some debt.
we're meeting with a financial counselor
Yeah,
who's
building
just
our
been
credit
great.
back up and doing
Good.
that kind of stuff. So in the 5-year goal to 7-year goal, we hope to be in a better place so we can retire and move where we want to
Yeah.
within reason. We're not going to be moving to Malibu, I don't think, but
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to try to stay at CBU. I mean, the goal would be, and you know, as long as they'll let me stay there, I would like to go 30 years of working there. And you know, Terry seems to be really happy where she is. I don't see her leaving.
no.
And she's working at home for the first time, which she commuted for over 20 years. So it's a blessing to not get in the car and lose, you know, an hour each way and just to be at home. I mean, she's pretty busy, but there's some days where she can take a break and, you know, just kind of chill, you know, at home.
Not too
And,
much,
you know,
but
it's been pretty crazy for her lately. She's covering for a couple of people. I'm sure she's waiting for that to kind of slow down so she gets a little more time back.
But it's a really good work environment. So
But we both see ourselves staying in our current job. So long term, staying in our current jobs and at some point retirement. I'm a little older than Terry, but
we get kind of caught up in the like the games and watching movies on Netflix or on social media. So we've talked about, you know, unplugging a little bit more often and just kind of engaging a little bit more with each other, like face to face.
Yeah, that's a good one for like a lot of people.
Yeah.
oh yeah.
A lot of us
You do get caught up in it.
Yeah.
And when you do work from home, you don't have, you know, boundary. You tend to work beyond 5 kind of thing because you're at home already. You don't have to jump in the car. So there's boundaries you have to constantly set and reset and remind yourself. So trying to do that.
Well, I think what's been good about COVID is we do a lot of family meals at home. We don't go out quite as much as we used to.
Nice.
But just preparing meals together, sitting down and having that dinner at night together has been nice.
Yeah.
And COVID's kind of provided that a little bit more until we get back onto our routine here. But I think just doing a better job with our routine, I guess.
What are your goals?
Throw it back on
Wait,
you
we're
guys.
asking the question.
Pop for baby size.
Yeah.
There you go.
My goal is to do whatever my wife wants me to do.
There you go.
So
That's my
we're
goal.
babies.
I think short term is to continue down this path of just having. We're so blessed, not only with our daughter, but for the things that are presented to us in the short term, and in the long term, just to continue down that road to see where that blessing takes us. Coach, I say this a lot, but I want to make sure I say this as often as I can. I mean, you truly saved my life. And if it wasn't for you, I think I'd be dead. I definitely wouldn't be here. I wouldn't have a beautiful home. I wouldn't have a wife. I wouldn't have my daughter. So a lot of the things that we do, whether it's us paddling out, whether it's life groups, whether it's Bible stories, studies, it's because of you. It's because of you and your dad. And we pour into that so much because we understand the importance of it, because you instilled it in us when we were in college, and Leah took to that, but I didn't. And I was young and foolish, and I didn't get it, but I get it now. And the most beautiful thing about this is I always thought coming in as a recruit that, we would swim, and that relationship that we would have as, athlete and coach, it would kind of be there. And then some alumni meets, we'd be okay, and we kind of see you, and that'd be it. But we have this tremendous blessing of looking at you guys as such an example of leaders and mentors to us, and Terry especially. I mean, for you to walk Leah through pregnancy and the questions.
It was one morning.
It's incredible to think that the both of you are so important and ingrained in our lives, and we couldn't thank you. We can't thank you enough. It's why we love you guys and Auntie Meg so much, and we want to support Meg in everything she does, because your family took care of us. And the reason why we can have short-term and long-term goals, the reason why we can do lives, the reason why we can work from home, I mean, that really comes down to the opportunity you gave me, Coach. I wouldn't have this if it wasn't for you. So thank you.
Well, my dad was the great original connection with you at Diablo Valley. So,
oh yeah,
helping to recruit, and we did. I don't know. We had a lot of good luck with strong JC swimmers. We were a good school for JC swimmers to come to, because I think a lot of other coaches didn't talk to you athletes, and I realized the talent pool that was out there. And so my dad was very good at recruiting at state community college meets, and I know that's how we brought you in, and my dad was a part of it. And we always
saw something in you.
We always just said, hey, we're going to recruit, and we're not going to be, we're not going to, just recruit people because, you come from a Baptist Christian home. We're going to recruit everybody, and God's got a reason why he's bringing in recruits. And you guys are a perfect story of somebody who met through aquatics, and you're married now, and we still have this great relationship with you guys. It's great to reconnect and surf with you guys and have that connection that, started obviously through CBU. But I think God had a plan all along. He knew that you guys were both going to come to CBU, and my dad was going to connect with you, and then I was going to kind of finish things. And, we're still in touch today. So, but, we have Christ in common. I mean, that's the key. So.
Amen. Absolutely. Do you have anything else?
Yeah, Coach, thank you so much for influencing not only us, but so many swimmers. We swim at this pool, and a couple of the people like, wow, we've never met so many CBU kids, and they're just lights. Like, so it's not just us.
I hear they're taking over the Los Cab pool.
Yeah.
Yes, we have. Yes, we have.
I know. A couple of people are like, you guys are also from CBU?
Yeah.
We just keep spreading.
Hey, real quick, I just want to clarify something of what I said earlier. I didn't want to bash the Catholic Church. It came across that way because it provided a foundation for me that allowed me to want to go deeper. And I went to a Catholic high school that provided a great foundation for me too. So I just didn't want to people to leave this thinking.
Oh
that,
no,
Oh,
nobody's gonna
we
believe
totally-
that. Terry, you're absolutely sweet. IG is going to cut us off, and we got
Yeah.
looking up here at the
No,
clock.
but I have a lot of Catholic friends that I truly love and adore, and they're great people. And I didn't want to,
Yeah.
I just was looking for
This-
something
disclaimer.
different, but it
Yeah, you're
provided
great.
a
No,
good
you're good. Thank you
foundation
for
for me.
clarifying. Well, thank you guys for joining us. Much appreciated. Oh my goodness, what a treat!
There's
Yeah,
Megan.
that's it, Megan.
Give him a hang
Thanks
loose,
for seeing
Megan.
tomorrow.
Making my appearance.
Yes, there you go. Coach Terry, thank you again so
Thank you
very,
guys
very
for
much
inviting
for always
us.
pouring into us and just supporting us in everything that we do. Yes, Lance
Lance
up.
Yeah.
Lance up,
Say bye
Lance
to
up,
Coach
and hang
Auntie
loose.
Terry, my love. Can you say bye? Can you
Bye,
say good night?
Gracie.
Good night.
Bye, sweetheart. Good night.
Good night, guys. See you later.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.